have prepared, we ask you to bless it, and bless them and bless your good, and ask you to guide this meeting into the same faith.
Do a roll call, please.
Yes, sir. Curtis Snell.
Here.
Rex Jordan.
Here.
Bill England.
Here.
Keith Austin.
Here.
Jack Baker. Carly Buzzard. Joe Bird. Sean Crittenden. Don Garvin. Frankie Hargis. Present. Wanda Hatfield. Dick Blake.
Here.
Denise Taylor. Here. David Thornton. Victoria Vespas. David Walkingstick. Brian Warner. John Masters. We do not have a quorum. We're one shy. Proceed with support.
Just have that words.
Yes, just procedure report, and we'll have to save the minutes till next month.
Okay. Moving on down, let's save 1 minute and go next month, and moving on down reports, your management resources. Mr. Bruce Taylor, please take it for Bruce.
I guess I am. Thought David might be here, David Moore, but I'm G.V. Hooliger. I'll be the one responsible, I guess, for representing management resources today. Y'all have a report. Any questions?
Any questions for G.V.? Well, thank you, sir.
See what?
Moving on down to real estate services. Next, Ginger Brown. You got Ginger here today? That's Joel.
Yeah, I'm Joel Bean, and I work for Ginger. She has had a death in the family. Baby out until maybe Thursday this week. So you should have our reports if you have any questions.
What are your questions for Joel?
I have one.
Yes, sir.
Have we made the switch to, with the Cherokee Street gym, have we given that to CCK?
We haven't given it all to them yet, but just last probably a week and a half ago, Brandon brought all the insurance paperwork and everything, so we're waiting on the BIA approval, and then it'll be.
So it is.
Yeah, but they're pretty much getting to go ahead to do whatever they need to do out there. So we just have to get their insurance and their corporate documents for their for CCK. They just have to make a new what do you call it, list of officers and everything. So we've got all that, and we're just waiting on the BIA to approve it.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, Joel. Moving on down to environmental programs, Mr. Tom Elford.
Good morning, sir, ladies and gentlemen. You have our report before you, and I guess the only thing that I would elaborate on, maybe just a couple things, you can see that there's quite a bit of work being done on the second to last page at the bottom and the last page on several trust activities. So we get that from Mr. Bean and Ginger as far as trust property or trust properties they wish to put into trust. So a lot of that's occurring right now. And then on the first page, you'll see those, the part that we put like a shot of how much we might get each year for the number that was the goals that we have for the year. And some of those we've gotten 100% on our environmental reviews and on lead-based paint, but energy audits were a little bit low on. We had about 71%. But most of the things that we do are tied to other departments, other groups. So when we get asked for environmental reviews, we do those. And we do, I mean, we have a goal of 900 on there, and that's just regular ones for water and sanitation and for various housing work. And we usually get, I mean, some years I know we've done 100 and probably 30% of our goal. And then energy audits, we've been trying to get other groups to ask us to do those. We're funded, you've given us money to do that with NAHASDA. And I mean, at one time we had, during that stimulus, we had money to do that with federal money for any Cherokee folks, actually any Indian folks within the Cherokee Nation. And when that went away, all we had was the NAHASDA money. And so we worked with Gary in the Housing Authority, but you know, they just don't request as many as we would like to do because we have that set up and the expertise for it. What we've started to doing, you know, we've had questions about mold and things like that. is doing a more comprehensive indoor air program, so where we're not just checking for mold, but we're checking for combustion issues. We call those PICs, products of incomplete combustion, like if a furnace or a heater's not burning efficiently, and some of that gets in the home, you know, you can have carbon monoxide and other particles that can get in your lungs and things. So we're doing more of an analysis of that and more of a comprehensive indoor air thing rather than just mold. And I think we're having it set up, you know, this October is the first of the fiscal year, so we're changing that to where we'll start counting those and develop a goal for those and try to engage some of the other groups about doing those. We've been having a lot of work from just facilities on not homes, but on Cherokee Nation properties about indoor air issues, not just mold, but some other things. So we've been doing quite a bit of that. I asked our directors to come, and the only one that would take me up on her good was Nancy John. And Nancy is over the Superfund program, the Brownfields program, and the General Assistance program for tribes. And then she's the point of contact for, you know, the Cherokee Nation is part of we're the lead agency for a consortium of tribes. And what is it now, Nancy? Is it 45 or 45 tribes, including the Cherokee Nation, that are in that. And her group, they provide a lot of technical assistance to those other tribes. And if you'd like to say a few words about that, I'd appreciate it, Nancy. Hate to put you on the spot, but.
No problem. Yes, we do provide technical assistance for those programs that we are funded for the consortium, so it would be like Superfund, the air monitoring, brownfields. We do assist them with their phase 1 sites that hopefully will eventually lead to them being able to provide jobs, facility sites, so that new businesses may be able to come in for those tribes. And so we do provide that type of assistance to them. The Superfund, we do assist them, especially those focused around sites of former refineries, for example. We're a big partner with the group with the Tar Creek area, with all the lead mining that took place there. So we've got a lot of activities that we are engaged in with as far as Superfund goes. General assistance, it's all training that we provide for these tribes to help them build their capacity to develop their programs. In addition, we also sponsor 2 large conferences each year, one for EPA's Tribal Summit, we host that, and we also host another one for ITEC every summer. So there's a lot of opportunities for training, technical skill development, as well as one-on-one assistance that we provide to those tribes. And those tribes are located now, they have added one in Louisiana, so the Shadows in Louisiana. Then we've got tribes in Oklahoma, Texas, and New Mexico. So we're kind of a regional effort that we put forth for our staff.
But her and her staff do a really good job, and if you've seen on our monthly report, the natural resource damage assessment thing, Nancy's group heads that up as well. And so we got a really good group of people that do all these things, and they do a very efficient job of it, really good, and EPA gives them many accolades for the work that they do. And if you have any questions, we'd be happy to answer them.
I have a question for Nancy. A few years ago, I went to a seminar or conference in Miami, Oklahoma, and they started reviewing I'm not sure it's called the TARP.
In fact, we do more than just one. We've got civil staff that this past year sent and presents. In fact, we've got staff that usually presents each year during the annual conference. Yeah, it's always on our radar.
I was the keynote speaker there this year at that conference.
Have they already had it?
Yes, I had it maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Are you going to try to apply for any more grants for the Tulsa County staffing contract?
Well, we don't do grants per se, but Nancy and her group put in for money from Department of Interior, and they've gotten quite a bit of money, and it comes through the Cherokee Nation's Compact for that and for the Tar Creek So they get money for that, definitely.
But I just want to make sure, are they going to continue monitoring
Oh, absolutely.
that snow that is going on? Okay, thank you.
Any questions, Tom?
Yes.
Okay, so citizens can request an energy audit. Can they request that air quality at the same time?
Well, right now, we're only funded for Nahasta eligible.
Okay.
We're trying to get money like that, and, I mean, I think it would be a good, efficient program if the nation wanted to start funding that, but we're looking for grant funding for it. When we did it, it was a good, really good program, because generally it was people that own their homes that wanted these. We didn't do it for rentals, because a landlord ought to be doing that. But what we did, when we did those, we would do an energy audit, and then we have some supplies that we would give people, and it would be caulk and backer board and different types of insulation, like for plugs on outside walls, things like that. And we would show them, if they didn't have the ability to do it, we would show them how to do it if they could. And if they did it for elderly people or handicapped folks, we go ahead and do that for them. But it was somewhat of a self-help. If they had the ability to do that, we would give them the supplies and they would do that. And it was very successful. Many times we'd come back the next year and do another energy audit to see how that lowered it, if it did, and generally it did. You know, there are numbers on that, and I spoke to the former Secretary of State and this one about doing those. You can get energy audits like that, and if you do the low-hanging fruit, you know, for a family of 3 or 4, if you can knock their energy bill down $40 or $50 by just doing stuff that's maybe $60, $70, $80 worth of stuff, in a year's time, that makes a big difference for those folks. And so, yeah, we definitely want to do that.
More questions, Tom? One more question.
Yes, sir.
Prepare, get ready to do the experiment of the water treatment stuff.
Right.
What do we need to prepare?
Well, I was just speaking with our Secretary of Natural Resources about that. And what we'd like to do is find the area where there's a large percentage of those chicken houses going in, and find the Cherokee, hopefully the Cherokee citizens that live there that are on well water, and go in and do a baseline of that water right now. In fact, I've talked to Billy Hicks' program, because they have the stuff to do that, but they don't really have the funding to do that. And you give us funding to do that type of thing, so we would work with them either to do the sampling and then have them do the analysis or something. Get a baseline of that and maybe do it every, depending on how many people there were, we would do like one now baseline and maybe 6 months to a year, you know, something like that, and just see how that progressed and if there was any damage to that.
Hey, what, you got to say something, yeah.
Absolutely.
Chicken do.
I have a question about that. So, if you do all that testing and then you find out that the well water is not suitable, what do you do?
Well, that depends. And it gets kind of dicey in that manner. Sometimes it's hard to attribute that to a certain, you know, if you have several chicken growers, it's hard to pin it to one particular one, but you can what's called speciate some of that, and it actually tells which chicken area, you know, does that. You can put dye on their land, and it's fluorescent dye, so you can't see it, but you can use a black eye and see where that water drains and the chicken feces with it. So you can do studies to find out if those attribute to the well water issues. Another problem that we're having, or that we perceive, is that Department of Agriculture is permitting these things, and a lot of people aren't seeing the permits before they get put up. So all of a sudden, they apply for a permit, and their neighbors don't even know they're doing it.
Well, if you were to do that fluorescent test, do you get the permission of the owner of that chicken?
You'd have to have permission to do that particular thing. But there are other things that can be done. And I know this from firsthand experience. I didn't do that when I was going to school I live on my granddad's allotment, and I did back then too, 15, 20 years ago. It was probably 25 years ago when I moved back there initially. And I put an old mobile home on it while I was going to school. Well, lo and behold, they mowed down the road, the woods across the road from me, put up 6 big chicken houses, and I was just telling Councilman Snell, when it rained, we couldn't take a shower because it stunk that bad. I mean, my water was at 17 feet. I mean, it was just brown. So I would disinfect it, and the kids would get off the bus and they'd throw up. It smelled that bad. And then, you also have the other things that come along with those. The roads get poor because of the big trucks, the noise, the lights. I mean, we lived 40 foot from the 50 foot from the road, and they would start turning on their lights at midnight or 10 o'clock. And it'd be all night long, just constant movement. You could hear the and we moved. We had to. We couldn't stand it. So we bought a house in town, and after the chickens left, we moved back. And I enjoy it a lot out there in the boondocks. And I imagine my neighbors in town enjoy me moving a lot too. But I think we can at least make some headway on it.
Like up in our local, at least, there's 50 chicken houses, 2 miles north of it.
Yeah.
They move 15, I think, maybe not 15 at a time. Well, I think it's a week. Clean them out and get everything cleaned up.
Absolutely.
And they stop. Then time moves 15 minutes. But it's continuous.
Yes. Where, years ago it would take 16 weeks to grow a chicken. Now I think it takes 6.
Yeah.
So there's something going on with that. I mean,
Oh, yeah. They said somebody told me 3,500 trucks per year. I think 3,500 trucks go by one night sometimes.
it seems like it, doesn't it? Absolutely.
But they do 15 chicken houses. And trucks, I'd say 100 will go by.
Oh yeah. And it's just constant too.
And all the road is, well, it wasn't where it started.
It's even worse now, yeah.
Oh, yeah. But anyway, that's what we'll look at.
Absolutely.
I'll take you around. We got some new ones.
Really.
About 30 new ones. There's 6 in each slot.
Really.
They drill water, they come up there drilling, and they got no water.
Well, and there's another issue around here. We have what's called karst topography. There's a lot of limestone. Well, water, in a what you call a normal topography, surface area, water will run and it will run down in creeks eventually and get somewhere else. We have such limestone that is, because of rain and a little bit of acid and it wears that away. We have small cave situations there. Not big enough that you crawl down into, but water can move, boom, instantly. It just and goes right into groundwater and goes right into your well. And that's why we had, where I live, we had water at 17 feet and chicken crap that would normally take months or so to get into that would be overnight. And it was bad.
Moving on down to Secretary of Natural Resources, Sarah Hill. See Sarah,
There she is.
She's her hair
You can believe that. I don't know too much detail, not enough detail. You can let me know the report that I'm about to give works for you or not. I'm going to kind of run through some of the different departments that don't report to you ordinarily and sort of give you updates on those. On administration support, the seed bank is prepping for the new seed bank season. At the last season, they had 2,174 orders, and they sent out 1,233 packages of seed. So the demand continues to be really high for seeds from the seed bank. expect that to continue. David Justice went to a pretty prestigious conference that Google puts on every year called the Geo for Good conference. They invite people from all over the world to the conference to talk about the work that they do. And he talked about their Remember the Removal project. They've been mapping, going along through the bike trails and mapping different locations and putting information in so people can follow the bike riders. And that was a project that Google highlighted at their conference this year. And he's been working with them also on a project to try to get Cherokee Nation represented on Google Maps properly. Because right now, when you type in Cherokee Nation into Google Maps, I think the Salina Clinic, will pop up if you just have Oklahoma open for whatever reason. And what we would like to see is Cherokee Nation pop up as the 14 county area properly. And that hasn't been done, and there are lots of different reasons why they haven't. They really didn't understand Oklahoma tribes. They don't really understand the land status here. So we've been going through a process over the past few months of educating them about Oklahoma Indian tribes, trying to get that so we're properly represented on the map, which I think is important. Google Maps is the most important map of the 21st century, and if we're not on it, it sends a message about Cherokee Nation and our legitimacy that I think is not correct. So I wanted to see that issue corrected, and Dave Justice from GIS has been helping me with that as well. Federal programs reported to you, so you have that information. On the Tribal Historic Preservation Office, which also reports to me, there's been an issue pop up with the FCC. Over the last year, since we started having a Tribal Historic Preservation Office, we've been doing reviews. They'll send FCC, when these cell phone towers come up, they'll send information to us. We'll map that out. We'll see if that tower is going to, construction of that tower would cause any issues with our historic sites in the area. And state tribes all over the country do those reviews when those new cell phone towers go in. And the nation receives a feedback for that. All tribes do for their review of those applications. And a few of the cell phone companies decided they're not going to pay that fee anymore. And FCC just kind of decided that they were going to set a fee for the tribes and didn't really specify what their authority was for that or what their process was going to be or consultation. So Chief Baker has sent a letter back to the FCC asking them to follow a more rigorous process, that they need to have a tribal committee appointed to look at the issue. What are the fees that are being charged across the country? What's the work that goes into these applications? To get them to gather some more information before they try to take this step of deciding to set a fee. So that's an issue that we've been dealing with on tribal historic preservation. I also had a meeting, I was in Washington, D.C. 2 or 3 weeks ago, and I had a meeting with Secretary Vilsack, Secretary of Agriculture for the United States, and they were talking about, he asked to meet with the Cherokee Nation and the Eastern Band to issue a formal apology to both the tribes for some damage that the Forest Service did to the historic trail and tiers in Tennessee. They sent big bulldozers in there and earth moving equipment, and they built these huge berms in the middle of the trail of tiers, and they didn't follow their own federal laws that they should have followed. And they, Secretary Vilsack was very remorseful that that would happen on his watch. He felt like he had really specific direction from President Obama to respect tribal lands, and that his people failed to do that was really a disappointment to him. And so he signed a letter formally apologizing for the incident. They have been working with us basically since the incident was uncovered in July. We've been working with both tribes trying to put together a mitigation plan for that. And he's also committed to making that area a sacred site, so there'd be even stronger protections in the future for it. So I just wanted you to know that I had that meeting with him, that he issued that apology to the nation as a whole, and all of you as well, so that they would understand that his agency took responsibility for what they've done and were committed to fixing it. On the Fish and Wildlife Department, has been, I'm sure all of you have seen Dale Glory. He has been hopping out of his community meetings, trying to get everyone that he possibly can to sign people up for the Fishing and Wildlife Association. There's a question about licenses. He's about to squared away with people with print licenses, hopefully, at upcoming meetings, which would be great, so people can come to him and say, I need the help, and be able to help him right there, have the clear power he needs to do that. So he's continuing to do that. We'll have our new licenses. We'll have to be issued here in the next few months. I don't have an exact date for that, but as I get the date that the 2017 licenses will go out, I'll be sure that all of you know that. The other, for the Cherokee Nation Fish and Wildlife Association, we're planning a new promotion, a special hunt at Lost Creek Ranch, which is up near Bartlesville, I think. There's there's a big ranch up there, and so we're gonna run another promotion. So people who sign up will be can enter to win the special hunt for a lifestyle deer up at the Lost Creek Ranch. And that was just a donated time that they gave to us, so we could help promote the association. While I was in Washington, D.C., I talked to Secretary of Staff. I also met with Gina McCarthy. She's the administrator and the top person at EPA. I talked to her about some of the issues that we were dealing with here at Cherokee Nation, and one of the specific things I talked about was water quality, and the issues that we have with authority here at the Cherokee Nation, and Oklahoma tribes. We have to deal with issues that other tribes don't have to deal with. They can't get through the state for water quality, which is just something that Oklahoma tribes had to deal with since Senator Inhofe introduced an amendment that prevented tribes from receiving that authority. And I think there are ways that we can still take back some of that authority, and I talked to her about some different ways that I thought that could happen. So that's something that we're continuing to work on. I also had a specific meeting with some of her staff about the baseline water quality standards that EPA they put out an advance notice of rulemaking. And what they're considering doing is setting a baseline water quality standard for all Indian country. So there would be at least some protections. If the tribe couldn't set its own water quality standard or chose not to, there would at least be baseline water quality standards that would be protected. And I talked to her about our scenic rivers and how we have even a greater need for protection than maybe some other areas do. So that's a conversation. It won't make the Obama administration, the advanced rulemaking, the actual rule won't possibly be issued. So it'll be in the next administration. So there's a lot of uncertainty about whether or not that will come to pass or not. But I've encouraged her to keep, and her staff in her absence, to continue working on this, because I think it's something that can help find some solutions for us here in Cherokee Nation. I also went to North Dakota in the last few weeks. The Department of Energy has the Office of Indian Energy has a working group that I'm a part of, and they talk about Indian and infrastructure in Indian country. We've really been trying to attract more money to the Office of Indian Energy to fund more energy projects in the future. And it's just part of a working group that I'm on, but I participated in that again. And they're working on transition documents, trying to get some, the Office of Indian Energy has really grown under the Obama administration, and no one really wants to see it go backwards, back to being a less important, less well-funded agency. So we're trying to work on our transition documents for the working group to be sure that this information is passed on from one executive director level person in DOE to the next one, so that it doesn't get lost in translation. I also talked with Councilman Buzzard about some issues at Lake Beachy, and we talked a lot about water quality issues up there, and we have been strategizing on how to help get that information to the people that need to have it. And then finally, last week I met with the Conservation Coalition of Oklahoma, and they were really interested in the Fish and Wildlife Association. It's a group of people in Oklahoma. It includes the National Wildlife Federation, the Nature Conservancy, the Land Legacy, and some of these other large conservation entities, and they were really interested in having Cherokee Nation participate in that in the future. So I just introduced them to the Fish and Wildlife Association, our conservation and outdoors activities that we have. And they were really interested in talking to us about that some more, so I expect that conversation with them will continue. So that's just a little update from that office and some of the other people that report to me that don't report to you on a regular basis.
Thank you, Chair. I was at a recent photo op event, and one of the scenes and our wildlife billboard was there, and everybody was really happy, that he was there and took a lot of information. But the citizen asked me if we will ever consider making the license into a little card instead of the paper.
So I've had that question several times, and I know that Oklahoma UWC gets that question several times, because I think if there's one thing that everyone agrees on is that everyone hates the paper 8.5 by 11 sheet in the format of the license. So I don't find that, except that it's easier for ease of getting them printed out of the different locations when they get printed. But I heard that frustration. Before as well.
Well, is it possible that in the Cherokee Nation, since we're doing this, that we could do it on our own? Do we have to follow the same guidelines that the state?
Well, we agreed on the format because one of the concerns that Oklahoma had was, how are our people in the field, our hunting and fishing people supposed to know if we have totally different licenses that are issued by all the different tribes? That's going to be really confusing to our guys in the field who have to decide when they ask someone for their license, whether this is a correct license or not. How do we prevent forgeries? They expect that this program will continue to spread, and they were really concerned about having different, so it's not that we don't have the authority to, and Oklahoma would certainly have a lot of heartburn with that if we decided to completely change it up. And I think that they have a reasonable concern about having a lot of different types of formats when their state officers are in charge of enforcing it all over the state.
More questions for Sarah? Yes.
I'm not sure this goes to Sarah, it may go to tourism, but a couple of counselors and Tom Elkins and I, before the meeting, talking about the old courthouse and when it might be finished. And I think was tourism in charge of that, now
Yes.
TV or?
Yes.
Yeah. Anybody from tourism here?
It's a CMB project, I think.
Molly's taking care of that. It's supposed to be.
It seems to go on forever.
Yeah. She says she has the money to do that inside.
I heard that 5 years ago when I first came into the council.
You heard it from the wrong person.
Heard it from that same group. They've been in charge of it at least 5 years. If nobody from tourism is here to take the complaints, then they should be. Perhaps the tribe should take it back. Those are my comments. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
More questions for Sarah? Yes, ma'am.
Sir, what's the status of it at the landfill?
So the landfill is, we're doing so one of the issues at the landfill is the methane issue. Landfills of that size have to be evaluated for methane. And there was some system that they're large enough to get the methane or to burn it off so it's not getting into the atmosphere. It's my understanding that that's going on this week at the landfill. They're beginning the process of getting that into compliance. They're starting the process of doing that. They're continuing to take trash. The new cell is under construction and has not gone with the speed that I wanted it to go at. That's an issue that I'm addressing, but the new cell is still under construction. The next thing that you will probably see from us is we've gotten numbers in the new fiscal year, and the money that's been approved for the new fiscal year is for us to begin putting together our closure plan. We need an engineering company down there to do that work, on the engineering plan. We've been meeting with the EPC every month, and they continue to have oversight of the landfill. There have been concerns raised about safety out there, where the people are wearing hard hats and safety vests. And I have addressed that with Jamie to be sure that everyone's got vests on, hard hats when they're supposed to be wearing them. It's continuing much the same way that it was. We're starting to make some progress on some of the things, with the new cell field, getting the methane situation under control at the landfill, and getting a closure plan are the goals I would like to get dealt with this year, at least getting those in place. And so we're continuing to make progress on those. I'll be happy to update you every month. On the new construction on the landfill new cell, that is not going as quickly as I would. We're working on it.
Thank you.
Questions, Sarah? Your report, Sarah.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Moving on down, and see what we got here. Old business, I see none. New business, none pending. Do we have any announcements? Yes.
I'd like to tell y'all a little bit about the trail ride we're having November the 22nd, this coming Saturday at South Salt Creek Park. And it starts at 9 o'clock. There's no fee. We provide food for everybody about 11 to 1. We'll go out that morning, ride about 2 hours, and then we'll come back and eat. And then we'll go out again about 1 to 3 and ride again that afternoon. So if you haven't got any plans, come down and eat a good dinner. If you don't bring a horse, we'll be there all day Saturday. Natural Resources is putting that on. And if you have a horse, come out and enjoy it. It's going to be really good. We're also trying to put a ride together between deer season up here in Bull Hollow. Have one up here in the fall also. And so we should know about that by the end of the week. Basically, we're trying to work on all the hunting seasons and everything to fit us in. But also like to tell you about our buffalo corrals. I don't know if we have time to go over there or not, but we have finished the construction All the pins are up, all the gates are hung. The only thing we haven't done is set our chute. The chute is there. It's under a tarp right now due to the painting in there. The painting's been trying to be done the last couple of weeks, and it's been blowing, the wind's been blowing, and they've been spraying it on, so we're getting red paint over everything, just about on the ground and everywhere, so we kind of put the chute behind the paint, the section that's already been painted, and we still like a little bit of painting there, and it's done by the Carroll Brothers. Construction was done by the Carroll Brothers. They did a really good job, and so just a little update. We paid the Carroll Brothers about $68,000 and another $20,000 to do the outside pins. So it cost us right at $88,000 to do the construction labor-wise, and then the chute cost us $20,000. And the cement cost us $17,000 to put that down. The building itself that you see over there cost about $15,000. We bought that, and Carroll Brothers erected that. And then the pipe and everything else run us about $65,000 for the pipe. So last year y'all gave us $75,000, and we appreciate it. We put it to good use. ITBC, the Tribal Buffalo Council, gave us an award for joining the first year. We were eligible for $75,000. We received a grant for $70,000 from them. So that $145,000 is what we started with. We all met up here a couple of times, me begging and pleading for more money, and got it through administration at $50,000 to do that. And then we applied for another grant, and we received a $38,000 grant. This time it's based on the number of buffalo, it's not based on the new membership. So we were eligible for $40,000, we got $38,000 there. So you put the 38 and the 75 and the 70 and the 50, I mean, you can add that up, and that's what we built that facility with. So Buffalo, they still house them 200 some acres plus. We bought a nice seeder this year with the money I had left over. We're going to start seeding this land and trying to get a fall harvest with the grass for them to also use it. And also that seeder, we want to go up to Oshaleta and that land if we're going to keep it. And first of all, we want to disc it and level it, put the construction on it so we're up and use that seeder up there to seed a hay plant, basically put it in the grass where we can either lease it out or get good hay off of it. So it's a lot of things going on with my department. You can see by the signs, the spring courthouse was brought up. We maintain it. Curtis himself was up there for about 2 weeks. We had a big singing and gathering up there, social gathering and meeting. We cleaned it up. I mean, all of it. We brushed all we cut every limb besides we could reach on every tree. Those down probably 20 trees that were dead and rotten and burning. And so it's really clean right now. The grounds itself is probably in the best shape it's been in a long time. New bridge has been built and everything. And so the Sling Courthouse needs some attention. It's been stripped on the inside, the wood's exposed. You know, if we don't do something to it, you know, we're going to start getting vandalism. We replaced a couple windows up there, it's broken out. And so all I have is a caretaker that opens the locks the gate. He gets paid $300, John Osage, a month to, you know, keep it secure basically at night. And so keep vandalism out. And so that's the Sling Courthouse, the trail ride. I told you a little bit about it, but the park right now, we're applying for a $250,000 grant. It's due the end of January. We've been working with the grant writers there in the complex, and they're doing an excellent job. We met with the Corps. We've done everything we can to access water, access electricity, and reset bathrooms there. That's going to be our first phase 1. And so we get that, especially the Native American public. And, you know, trail ride, we've dozed, and we're going to doze some more tomorrow, and the next day add about another 8 miles of trail. So we'll have about 16 miles of trail. It goes wide. You can walk, you can ride a horse, you can even drive a wagon through there. And I guess that might be my selfish part there. I like teams and wagons, so we'll make sure we get through there with a wagon and stuff. J Community Garden right there, you see that? And got that boy up there, Mark Dunn. He does an excellent job. It's a full-time job for him. It's right next to the food services distribution building at J, and right behind the health clinic. And so we expanded that. He's got food trees growing, and he does a real good job. He's education. He's in that area, so we're glad to have him and part of this division. And the buffalo, as you can see out here, that's about half the buffalo. The other half are down there, but buffalo's going to demand a little attention. We got about 30-some kids that look pretty rough. They're babies, and they're not getting the nutrition I think they need. So as soon as we get these pens completed within the next 2 weeks, we'll probably gather the buffalo calves up and start feeding them on a program for 90 to 120 days and look for a way to sell them. But we got to get them in good shape, get them kind of fleshy, where they bring top dollar for us, and then turn that money back into the cost of the buffalo. And we don't really want to expand on buffalo. We have 78 cows. We have about 17 bulls. So and so we want to grow the herd, but we want to grow a good herd. We don't want to string it out. If we're limited on space, we have the other land rented out with a new lease coming up for 5 years. So this is what we got with the buffalo. So we have to be careful. We're eligible for probably 50 buffalo every year if we want. I mean, that's ITBC. ITBC's having a meeting the first, second week of November at Vegas at Southport Casino. I've been asked to give a presentation on behalf of Cherokee Nation about our buffalo program. They want us to do a program. So I've been working on that, trying to put a slide together, a presentation for that, about what we've done in a couple of years working with ITBC. We're one of the 60 nations that belong to it. It's the best thing we ever did, join that, because it cost us $500 a year, but in return we got 70,000, 50 buffalo first year, 38 last year, 38,000 also. So as long as we stay involved with Cherokee ITBC, I think the buffalo program will support itself. We keep receiving those grants, and we keep writing those grants. Even if we just receive 25,000, that's going to go a long way on buying the hay and feed that we need to supplement the buffalo to keep them on track of land at 200. So also taking over the running, I shouldn't say this, I would get recommended, but Swati Cabot is taking 2 full-time guys for me to open that, keep it open 7 days a week. We're running that 7 days a week also, maintaining the grounds and everything on it. So we're pretty busy, and whenever we get extra duties from the council administration, go out and do a tree or driveway or whatever, we do it as promptly as we can. Sometimes our responsibility is to the land first. And, I got to answer to about 22,000 acres in 14-county area. And, we stay busy brush hogging and spraying and haying and, fencing and do a lot of stuff. So I think we do a good job, and most of my crew is here today, and most of them out cooking, but I have a few here that really been here for a long time. I probably have the longest longevity employment as anybody. I think I have 20 guys, and they're probably going to average anywhere from 12 years, and I got about 8 that's going to average about 20 years plus. So we're all kind of getting along in it too, but we got a few young boys coming on and keeping it up. But, natural resources is a big part of Cherokee Nation. We're glad to be a part of it. So I just want to give you a little heads up. Appreciate y'all coming up. And get a chance to go over there and look at those pens. And we're really proud of them. I mean, it's going to be a facility. It's going to be here a long time after everybody here is gone. I mean, the buffalo's going to be here for a long time. Thank you, man.
Got an inventory here on the buffaloes. Pardon me, we got 14 big bulls, 17 yearlings, 12 this year's calves, 16 cows, new pen for them.
I'll store one of them for you, my freezer.
Well, I gotta say, I got a person up here, Billy Hogshooter, and he is, I insist that he spends at least 6 to 7 days a week with the buffalo and look at them and everything, because it is a big tourism deal for Cherokee Nation. So Billy, he's out there in the field 3 to 4 hours daily and feeds them, and he takes care of them. We're feeding hay right now, but it's been dry, and dry more than usual, and so we're doing everything we can to supplement them. ITBC this year, I'm going to ask a lot of questions on nutrition, the internal operations of the buffalo, what it takes to keep them fat and sassy. And so ours kind of looking rough right now, and I think it's just due to the drought we've had, maybe the nutrition in the ground, and we got the licks out, 28% licks, and we got salt out, we got meal out, you know, hay, and we're feeding hay sacks each day right now to them, so, you know, we're doing everything we can to supplement them and maintain them. I think the first thing we need to do is get those 30+ calves off and get them up. So everybody that's got cattle understands that going into the fall, you don't want a big calf on a cow because the jerks are down. It takes the nutrition of making the milk and the food away from them, and then it brings them down too. So that's what we're trying to do, and that's what we're going to be doing this fall with our program. So, I really hope y'all enjoy the fish today, and hope you enjoy the visit up there. We appreciate you coming up. Yes, sir.
Jackie, you got any questions?
No.
Kurt? Yes, sir.
Well, I've got GD, there's a question I have. Collinsville, the Christian side,
Yeah.
it does not look like anybody's mowing that patch.
Okay. We understand somebody's supposed to be mowing it. We've probably mowed it twice this year. Brush hog, the outside area,
Yeah.
20 acres, and I had no problem doing it. Sure don't. We just
It needs right now.
We usually catch it when we go to Coffeyville and do the casino up there and Bruce's truck stop, and we come back. It's a long day, but the boys usually make it one trip. So,
I wish it was on some kind of schedule to where it didn't require a council person calling and say it needs it. Because we get calls from the community justifiably, it's bad neighboring.
Yeah.
We're being a bad neighbor in that community.
Oh,
That's in a residential area, and it's in an area bounded by residential on that side.
They used to have somebody maintaining it, and they dropped it, and we've been asked to do it twice this year. And, we'll get up there and do it, sure will. Right.
Oh, and RCCA Road is great. They do a wonderful job on that. It looks wonderful, and it looks like it'll hold for several years.
Okay, we're down to any announcements or
Oh, you want me to say it?
our next meeting is Monday, November 14th, at 4 o'clock.
I'm gonna put that.
Okay.
Can we approve the minutes, man?
Need a motion to adjourn.